Hey everybody, a lot of you may be wondering what is the deal with the truck tour? So it was on yesterday's live show over on Woodworking for Mere Mortals. A lot of people in the chat saw my truck and they said, "Hey, we want to see more of the truck." And I couldn't really read the chat messages because I was busy doing my shop tour. And so Catherine, who was managing the comments afterwards, told me, "Wow, everybody was wanting to see your truck. In fact, everybody came up with the hashtag, truck tour." So I thought that was kind of cool. So I thought, well, why not? Let's do a tour of my truck today. It's not a tour in my truck. I'm not driving my truck around taking you on a tour. I'm just going to show you my truck. But a couple of things about my truck I'll mention before I take the camera out there is it's a 1976 Ford F150. My dad bought it new in 1976, and I was 10 years old at the time. I remember when he bought that truck. He had a smaller truck before then. It was a Nissan. Actually, it was a Datsun. Back before Nissan was Nissan, it was called Datsun. He had this small truck. So he bought this bigger truck because he would take us out camping, and he had a shell over the back of it, so we could go camping in there and bring all the gear with us and that sort of thing. And it was a lot of fun. And also, as a kid, we could ride in the back of that truck. And so he had a intercom system that would run from the back to the front, and so we could talk to each other. But I don't think you can ride in the backs of trucks anymore. So he had that truck, and I actually learned to drive on that truck as well as the other family car. But he didn't drive that truck a lot. And then I guess it was about the early 80s, he got into hot air ballooning. And so the truck became a chase vehicle, which means when you are a pilot, a hot air balloon pilot, you'll be, up in the sky giving people rides or whatever. And you need somebody on the ground who can drive around and follow you because you don't know where you're going to go. It just depends upon however the wind takes you. So he installed a sunroof in the truck. A lot of people ask about that. Why is there a sunroof in the truck? Because it was not standard in any of those things. But he had that installed so that whoever was driving the chase vehicle could look up and keep an eye on the hot air balloon. So it's an interesting truck, and it only has, I'll show you the mileage, I think about 125,000 original miles on that truck. So it hasn't been driven a lot. And with all of that said, I'll take you around and show you the truck. It's funny how many people are interested in that truck, because to me it's just a truck and it has a lot of problems and it doesn't run very well and I hardly ever drive it. But let me flip the camera around. I'll show you. Okay, so here's my Ford F-150 1976. The body is in pretty good shape. It's got some rust on it. I'll show you that in a minute. And this white stripe down here, I think this was kind of on like the deluxe edition or something, this white. And what it is it's vinyl. It's not painted on there. And so over the years, it's gotten these cracks in it that are kind of ugly. And a guy sent me these decals, so I put those little flames coming out of the gas tanks. It has two gas tanks. It's got one here and then one down there. So altogether, it's like 40 gallons of gas. I have to fill this truck up about once a year. Last time it was about 14 months before I had to fill it up again. That's how little I drive the truck. So this also, when my dad gave me this truck, I bought this at a garage sale. It's just an extra space where I can carry extra oil and engine stuff in there. And you can see how the gas is kind of messy there. And over here there's some rust in the wheel wells there. But it's not too bad. And I had to get these gas caps special. I had a real hard time ordering those because when I brought the truck into California, we have real strict smog tests you have to pass. And the truck passed the smog test, but the gas caps that were on there were letting out vapor. So I had to like call around. I finally found these caps at a salvage place in like Santa Ana or somewhere down in LA. So at least I've got those gas caps in. I can pass the smog check, which I just passed this month. So that was another another good sign. But the whole point of this truck is just to haul things, and that's what I use it for, is just to haul things. Right now I've got this really twisted 2x4 in there. I think eventually this will find its way to the dump. I have a yearly trip I've got to make to the dump to just get rid of all the extra junk that I kind of store over there and clear out the place. Right now it's kind of really dusty because we use this to haul a bunch of rocks for this side garden. I'll show you that here in a little while too. I'll kind of give you an update on that. Oh, and I wanted to show you my stickers here. This was a viewer sent me these stickers. They're vinyl cutouts. There's my extra fancy sticker there. They stick really well to glass, even through all the weather and rain and everything. They never come off. And then there's the Princess Meow Meow sticker. I also wanted to mention the other thing people ask me about. The other thing people ask me about on this truck is the Scottish flag and why I have the Scottish flag. And that's because my dad was, and he still is, a member of the, Scottish organization where he lives, and just does a lot of work with that. We're part of Clan Ramsay, which is in Scotland. All of the different families and families' names are, they form their own groups or clans or something. So we have our own tartan and our own, I guess, coat of arms or something. I don't know a whole lot about it, but I don't know. I just like the Scottish flag on there. I think it's kind of cool. And more rust down here. I'm going to move along here. For some reason, I'm getting a poor connection notice. I don't know why I'm getting these lately. Let me back up here and see if it clears up a little bit, and then I'll take you inside the truck. Still saying poor connection. Are you guys seeing this all right? I don't know. Still poor connection. It's not bad. Okay, thanks, Jerry. Okay, thanks. So that's pretty good. So okay, let me take you inside of the truck. Hopefully that'll clear up. It's kind of weird, the Wi-Fi. I tried it this morning, a test with just the 4G network, and that was kind of really wonky too. So this is the inside of a 1976 truck. It's got, plush vinyl seats with a real actual tear in it. And it looks like the connection might be better in here. I made this box a while back. Some of you may remember that I can keep things in over here. It's kind of hard to do this one-handed. This opens up, and then I've got cup holders here. And it was just, I needed something, because back in 1976, they didn't build cars with cup holders or any place to just keep anything. And so everything was always just stored on the seat. This is the odometer. Let's see if that'll focus. There it is. That says 23,231. This is a tenth that white mark. That's the way they used to do it. These just roll around. So when it gets to 99,999, it just rolls over to all zeros, and that's an exciting moment. I think that was before I got the truck, so I don't know when that happened. But so this is 123,000 original miles, which isn't bad for a 41-year-old truck. And my dad installed this stereo. That's not original. This is all original. The heat. There's no air conditioning in this truck, so it's really hot driving around in. And way back then, they came with ashtrays, and this is a cigarette lighter. So that would just go in there. You can still use that same jack for your phone or whatever. And the other thing he installed it himself was this backup alarm. There was a switch here. It broke off, but So it was kind of a manual way for him when he was backing up with the balloon in the back, which is huge. It takes up the basket, and then the balloon itself, it takes up a lot of space back there. So he had that backup alarm installed so that when he would beep, 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 and it sounded so professional. I don't know. Over here in the glove box here's the original owner's manual. I like these old manuals. They're kind of fun to look through and see, like, I don't know, what was state of the art back in 1976. So like safety features. Sorry for the jostling. Here are some of the best safety features in 1976. Safety designed door handles. Not really sure what that means. I like this one though, the front lap shoulder belts, because I think it was probably about that time that the shoulder belts were becoming a thing. Before then, it was just the lap belt that would go around you. And then the other thing that this shows is, let me get through this. Sorry, this is hard to do this one-handed. Yeah. Okay, here it is. Look at this. It actually comes with windshield washers. I mean, all this stuff is like standard now. It's kind of funny. Inside yield away rear view mirror. I'm not sure what the yield away part is. And this is pretty funny. The padded sun visors. These are the sun visors, but they're padded. So I guess if you're in a wreck, you won't bump your head. Here's the sunroof that he had installed. And it's kind of fun to drive with that open and just let some air in. So let me fire it up. For those of you who are interested in engines, I think this is a 390 engine. So this is where let's see if I can get that in there. There we go. This hasn't been started in probably a month. Don't worry, it'll start. There it goes. There was a Ford logo on here, but it fell off. I glued it back on a while back and it fell off again, and now I lost it. Crack in the steering column. Okay, I'm gonna show you the engine. There's no inside release, you just reach under here. There it is, that's the Ford. I'm pretty sure it's the 390 engine. It's still pretty clean. It's got some oil on it and it runs really rough while I'm driving it. Battery is pretty new. I don't know. If you're into engines, that's an engine. And you really got to slam that thing to get it shut. So here's the foot pedals. This is down here. That's how you switch from the regular headlights to the bright lights. Which the bright lights just means that there's 4 that come on. Let's see. I just happened to look at the fuel consumption for the engine. I think I get about 12 miles to the gallon on this thing, which is one of the reasons I never drive the truck. Let's see, I'll put this back in here, and then I'm gonna go back inside and I'll answer some of your questions about this. Okay, so there you go. There's the old truck. I go back in here where I won't have to jostle you around so much. Okay, we're back, and I hope you enjoyed the truck tour. # truck tour. And oops. See if I can lock this on there. Okay. Let me see if this is the weirdest live stream, isn't it? Just showing you my truck. Let me see if I can answer some of your questions. I'll scroll back a little bit. Fat Boy Nation wants to know if I have a CB in the truck. Believe it or not, there was a CB in the truck because, again, that was how they had to communicate with the balloon. They used a CB, and it's not in there anymore, obviously. But there's actually a little clip on it where they used to hook the receiver part of it. Oh yeah, that's what Beers Russ. Man, I should have brought my glasses down here. He mentioned that. He sees a mount for the CB mic on the dash. Very observant. Yeah, that's exactly what that was for. Let's see. Here's, Fat Boy Nation again. Said he had a 74 Chevy Scottsdale, and it only had the lap belts. Yeah, I think it was right around that time. It was like in the mid-70s is when they started putting the shoulder restraint on there. And you know, as a kid though, we had the lap belts, but I don't even remember wearing those as a kid. We just kind of flopped around. Well, not in the truck, but when I was younger, we had like a station wagon, and yeah, we would just ride in the back and I don't know, flip around a lot. But in the truck, we could ride in the back of the truck. That was a lot of fun. Timothy says the 390 is the beast. Yeah, it is a beast. It definitely uses a lot of gas. That's for sure. The problem that I have with that truck, though, is that it has carburetor problems, and it's real difficult for me to find anybody who can work on a carburetor or can find parts for the carburetor. So I have a local mechanic who had some experience with that, and so he was able to kind of get it sort of working. It was like spewing gas out of it. It was horrible. You could just smell gas while you were driving. So it wasn't safe. So he fixed it and got it back to normal, or not normal, but sort of got it working. But now it still has this problem where if I'm stopped at a stop sign or stoplight, and then I push the gas to go when the light turns green, it just goes, it doesn't do anything, and all of a sudden, then it'll kick in. So I don't know if that's like a transmission problem or what. I don't know a lot about it. And so that's something that kind of also keeps me from driving the truck, is I don't trust it, and I don't want to get stranded with the truck anywhere. And ultimately, I think I'm just gonna sell the truck. I know there's kind of like some nostalgia to it, and it was my dad's truck, and we've had it in the family for 41 years now, but it's still just a thing, and it's just taking up space in the driveway, and I think I would rather sell it and sell my other car. I have this old green 2003, 2004 Mitsubishi. It's a really ugly car. Sell both of those and then just get a newer, smaller truck, maybe. That's kind of what we're tossing around right now. But I don't know how much the truck is worth, and you know, obviously the person who buys it will need to be able to work on it. I'm just scrolling through some more comments. Has the truck had any engine work? Probably. I was answering some of that, but overall it hasn't had any engine work other than just it's lately. I think in the past 5 years is when it's really, and it's funny because it hasn't been driven a lot, but the engine is just deteriorating, I guess. I don't know. It's just old, you know. It really needs to be redone. And the body is kind of rough, and it could use a new fresh paint job. Would be nice. In fact, when I wash that truck, and when I go to dry it or wash with a rag, it literally turns the rag brown. The paint is just coming off of the truck, so I don't really wash it. Here's, I'm sorry, I'm trying to see this. I think it's Court Wolf says he used to lay in the back window of the car. Yeah, I remember doing that too. In the station wagon, we had the front seat, the middle seat. They were bench seats, and then there was that long, I guess it's a trunk, but it's open, you know, with windows all around it. And so it would be fun because we would sit in the back of that and, I don't know, intimidate the cars driving behind us. And somebody says carbs are easy to work on, so maybe so. I don't know. I think the problem is parts for them, but I could be wrong. I don't know, because I don't think they've even had carburetors in cars in, I don't know, 30 years or something. Wow, somebody, Bryce, I think it's Bryce, says I could get 9 or 10 grand for the truck. I don't know about that. That would be nice if I could get 9 or 10 grand. I'll have to do some research. I'll look on Craigslist, see what kind of similar things are going for. And just because I think because of the fact that it needs some engine work is, I think, the problem. But it does run, and I drive it. I mean, I pick up lumber in it. A collector, find a collector for it. Yeah, that would be definitely, I think, the way to go. Did you have to add a catalytic converter or anything to it? This is from, Jack Evans. Hey, Jack, I think it has a catalytic converter in, I think this might have been the first year that they put catalytic converters in cars. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I'm pretty sure it has a catalytic converter in there, which may be why it still passes the smog check here in California. The funny thing about it is if that was a 1975 truck, if it was 1 year older, I would be exempt from the smog check because it would be considered a classic vehicle, I guess. Something like that. There's some sort of, there's a year where it breaks down and you don't have to have the smog check anymore. And I think that was 1975, so I just missed it. So I still have to get the smog check every year, but surprisingly it passes. So it's kind of funny that like brand new cars still need to be smog checked, which seems silly to me. If a 1976 truck that gets about 12 miles to the gallon can pass a smog check, I'm pretty sure all cars can pass a smog check. I mean, you've got to be pretty blatant spewing of junk to not be able to pass a test. And Bryce says he hasn't seen everything on the truck, but old Fords sell for a pretty penny. Well, that's good to know. I don't know. I'll look into that. It's one of those things where we've been talking about it for so long, selling the thing, and I just haven't gotten to that point yet of doing it. Let's see. And I think I caught up with the questions there. If anybody has any more questions, let me know. A couple of people wanted to see what's been going on, and I guess since this is Home and Garden, I should probably show you a little bit of our garden that we've been working on. So you know that we've dug up the front. I think I showed you that before, this side, and so we've planted the succulents in there, and by we, I mean my wife has planted all of the succulents, and then she laid down this drip irrigation, and so it's looking pretty good. I think it looks actually really good, and I think this is kind of cool. She built this all up. These are all rocks that were in the pond areas. We moved them back over here, and then just a little raised area, a couple of cactuses, and just different elevations. So we've got these rocks here. They're kind of like decorative rocks that'll go down on top of all that dirt just to make it look a little bit nicer. The one problem we're having though is that the drip irrigation is 100 feet. It comes in a 100-foot long tube, quarter-inch tube. But by the time it gets to the end of the run, it's like it doesn't have enough power in the water to keep dripping. So I think our plan is to cut it in half and then just hook up two 50-foot ones to water that. And then we'll hook those up to timers, and that should do the trick. These are still doing really well. So far, none of the dirt has shifted or anything in there. Oh, overall, the garden is coming along pretty nicely. And there's the other cars. There's that green car that I drive all the time. That thing there, and it actually has a pass-through in the trunk, so I can actually haul 2x4s in that car just by putting the back seat down, and then I put them up onto the dashboard. Okay, I'm gonna go back in where I get a better connection, and then we'll wrap this up. Flip this back around. Okay, back to a little bit better connection in here. Do a quick look, see if there's any more questions. Oh, here's a question about the succulents. Can succulents be overwatered? We're moving to Seattle and want to bring ours with us. I think they can. It depends upon the succulent, because I know in our neighborhood lots of people have succulents and they seem to do really well, but I think it really depends upon the type of succulent. And at least where we are, we don't get a lot of rain, this past year being an exception, and I don't know if things are going to change in the future and we're going to start getting more rain. I don't know what's going on, but but they seem to all fare well. So I guess the only thing to do is just do a little bit of research on them and see which kind fare well with lots of water. I know we've got a couple of cactuses. I like to say cactuses. Cacti sounds weird to me. But we've got a couple of cactuses that were inside the house, and I watered those like once a month, and they were great. I don't know. We'll see how they do out here. The real test will be next winter when we get some rain. David says, in Texas they passed a new law, no more car inspections necessary after March 2018. Well, that's interesting. I don't know. Sometimes I think car inspections are probably a good idea. I see some real clunkers out there that look really dangerous, but I think for the most part, most of the cars are newer cars, and really I don't think most people can afford to maintain older cars. Hey, there's Captain Kidd is watching from Scotland. Hey, Captain Kidd, did you see my Scottish St. Andrew's flag on the back of the truck? I think that's what that's called, right? St. Andrew's flag? That's one of the places I really want to visit someday, is Scotland. And I think I'm kind of caught up here. Okay, I'm gonna have to leave it there. We got a lot of stuff we got to do today. We're gonna have to work on getting that drip irrigation fixed. Try to get those rocks in there. We've got to make a run to Costco, and then I got to start working on other stuff for the woodworking channel. So thank you guys. Thank you all for tuning in for this really kind of odd show, but it was a lot of fun showing you my truck. And thanks to all of you who saw the live show yesterday on woodworking for beer bottles and asked about the truck and wanted to see more of the truck. So hopefully when people ask me about it in the future, I'll just show them this video so they can get the whole tour of the truck. Thanks again for watching, everybody else. See you later.